There are no two words in the English language that scare more people than Donald Trump. But a new plan is being hatched, leading up to this next presidential election that will inundate us for months to come. The mainstream media will focus with laser precision on diffusing what they say is misinformation, but then they release this battle plan. One that none of us could have ever expected to see. One that will drive some people simply insane because there's storm clouds gathering. And it's in this battle over the White House, because if Trump scares you, then what you're about to see and read should give you nightmares for months, if not years to come, because it goes to the very heart and soul of politics in this great republic of the United States of America. That's the story I'm going to cover for you in just a moment. Before I do, if you haven't subscribed to the channel here, Lisa's channel, please double check you're still subscribed. If you're new here, please subscribe. It means the world to us. Make sure your bell is checked to all so you're alerted to upcoming broadcasts. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, she'll put a link just above. If you can click on it, can't tell you how much that means to us. And today we have something free for you. Absolutely free. It's an offer Lisa and I put together, did a little bit of work. And right now, using your YouTube credentials and clicking in the description box below, click in the description box. There's a link that will take you to free videos at restrictedrepublic.com by simply signing in with your YouTube credentials. As you see there, it's that easy. Lisa and I have prepared some videos so you get a real good flavor for what we're doing at Restricted Republic. If you like it enough, which we know you will, we'll hope you subscribe. And right here, we keep the discount code running of discount code Independence at monthly checkout for $4 a month for 2 years, plus 14 days for free, plus the 5 videos we just gave you for free with no strings attached whatsoever. Go in there, use your YouTube credentials, click in the description box below, enjoy it on us. But now let's get back to this broadcast. This article here will be an election unlike anything we lived through. Are the Democrats prepared? Well, they're trying to get them prepared. Michael Tomasky has done many of these articles. Gives them a battle plan, one that if Trump's politics terrify you and you really understand what's being stated here, sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly, then this should give you nightmares for months and years to come. I'm going to get through it because this is one of the longest articles I've covered in a very long time. That's how much detail they go into. Why this election is different, the chaos narrative it begins, and you get a sense of where the author's going. Every week and in time every day, and by the home stretch nearly every hour, will bring a development, some action or statement by Donald Trump or one of his supporters that will drive the millions of us who care about the life of our democracy into states of deep despair. They use that word democracy as if it is a dagger into the heart and soul of the great republic of the United States of America, into the political soul itself. It's why I have come to despise the use of that word. Joe Biden and the Democrats will be tasked with the challenge that no U.S. president campaign has ever confronted. It will be the first American political candidacy in our history running against an openly fascist candidacy. Their minds haven't changed. With all the destruction and the non-progress and the non-results of Joe Biden, they're still attacking the Republicans, Trump and the MAGA movement to be more particular. Because in their own failures, they cannot admit that it will cause a defeat. So they're falling back on old measures, and we saw what these measures resulted in the last time around. Unfortunate events like the BLM riots and so many other events surrounding it showed a divide in this nation that nobody should ever support. Ever. Now, granted, both sides of the aisle have some issues. Even Trump, in his use of words at times, could use a little bit of wordsmithing himself. It's official. With vermin, Trump is now using straight-up Nazi talk. How Trump plans to wield power in 2025, what we know, that his allies are already laying out the groundwork for a possible second Trump presidency, as you are in this article laying out the framework of how you should fight against it. So I don't know why there's any difference there. Forging plans for an even more extreme agenda than his first term. But this is across the board. We know this, right? I don't think you know the full depth of what they're thinking. You're about to find out. The Republican plot to weaponize the government against political enemies, Trump's Schedule F plan to eliminate workplace protections for the civil service was averted in 2020, but the GOP still dreams of the purges. A downsizing of government is a bad thing. We can only go into the mind of the author here so much as to what he references or points out to understand what their thinking is. So far, a downscaling of government, bad. The animating concept behind the Trump campaign, again, will be chaos, as they so state. They revel in it because they can see how profound chaos unnerves Democrat Republicans. A little bit of wordsmithing here. Democrats or Republicans, Democratic Republicans, everyone that is, everyone. They're just blanketing over all political parties now. That is, whether liberal or conservative, who believes in the basic idea of representative government that is built around neutral rules. But that's not what they declare Trump is. They're going to strip him out here from all parties, remove him, and this is how they will campaign against him, that he is nothing. He is only Trump. He is MAGA, and he is a fascist. Fascism exists to pulverize neutral rules. Indeed, fascism insists that the Republican democracies, their rules are not neutral and all but are rigged against them. So by Donald Trump declaring that the system is rigged against him, he has removed himself from any political affiliation and he remains only a fascist. They're removing his personality. They're removing his persona. They're making him, I'll let you fill in the blank there. A pariah would be a great word. They're dehumanizing him. And this is well written in this plan. So they campaign with the explicit intention to instill a sense of chaos. They're talking about Donald J. Trump. And then comes the topper. They have the audacity to insist that the only solution to the chaos that they themselves have either grossly exaggerated or in some way cases created. The Republicans have created chaos over the term of Joe Biden. Just think about that for a moment. The Afghan withdrawal, that's the Republicans' problem. Ukraine, that's the Republicans' problem. You want to continue to go? The border crisis, that's the Republicans' problem. No, the Democrats have created no chaos whatsoever. The fact that they can write this in good conscience and sleep at night befuddles me, dumbfounds me. Because if we want a united nation, both sides have to admit their failures. Because through failure is the only way you will ever find success. You see, there is nothing but chaos afoot, and only we can restore order, is what Trump will state. Trump teased this argument in 2016 with the "I can fix it alone." Unfortunately, Trump does have a great degree of vanity at times, and he's not always the best at picking his team members, as we've seen. So I'll give the author 1 point here. 1. So far, remember, downsizing government, bad. The argument will center around crime, the border, racial politics in schools, and the rights of transgender Americans, and whatever else he can cram into the narrative. So all of a sudden, discussions on crime, discussions on border, discussions on racial politics, and discussions on the rights of transgender Americans is a bad thing, along with downsizing the government. Excuse me, sir, what exactly are we to talk about? These are the issues that Americans care about. But if Trump talks about it, that makes them fascist. You see what they're doing here. They're bundling any maneuver in their minds to bundle Trump directly into this fascist caricature. Trump's Christmas message, rotten hell. Okay, sometimes he does and says things he shouldn't. Even though we understand his passion. We understand exactly what's happening. I get it. Rise above. Rise above. Even though they keep you in the trenches, and that should never happen. This will all be unlike anything that any American has ever seen, and shockingly, it's unclear the Democrats can make Trump's openly fascist appeal again. Fascist, 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 and fascist. Let's say it 1,000 more times in the article. But we got to let the swing voter know that he's a fascist, and Democrats, you're not doing a good enough job. But don't worry, the author has a plan on how to do that. But first, we got to get through why the Democrats are failing. 4 big reasons why, to be more particular. First, the Democratic Party is falling apart. Oh, that had to hurt to admit. But this is about the only time they talk about it. because they, within the same paragraph, move on to the No Labels movement, which they declare is a Trump front organization. Many have declared Trump is a front organization by the reference that they used, the reference to this article. The No Labels Party is just a front group for Donald J. Trump, which is not true, because if you remember, the No Labels Party have actually floated the possibility of a coalition government or Congress deciding the presidential election, which could actually happen, by the way, especially in this election. And the fact that they floated Nikki Haley as the third party, neutral if you want to call it, bipartisan candidate, tells you it is not a Trump front organization. This is easy math, because who would Nikki Haley destroy if she was to run on a third party ticket? Donald J. Trump. Plain and simple. This is not difficult concepts. So then they turn and attack their own again. They go after the likes of Joe Manchin, Robert F. Kennedy, Cornel West, Larry Hogan, whoever it may be, because that would allow Trump again to maybe, or will pull votes away and not allow Joe Biden to get to 270. Nikki Haley would not allow Trump to get to 270. We can't allow that to happen because that will go to Congress. And if it goes to Congress, the math is fairly easy. Because the Republicans control 26, the Democrats control 22, and guess who wins? Donald Trump. Now you see why he brought up the argument. We can't allow Donald Trump in. Man, this is just beginning. This is freaking intense when this guy gets going. Finally, the Democratic Party now faces an inevitable generational implosion over Israel-Palestine. That is an issue for them, isn't it? The younger Democrats want one action. The older Democrats want another action. Both represent a very significant voting bloc of which will be divided off the Democratic Party, but we can't identify that. You can't talk to your own party about how to solve it because you have no solution. So rather than give real solutions and real actions, you go after the divide and conquer, and it's Donald J. Trump's fault. As you've done time and time again, it is only a curtain to cover up for your own failures. It's becoming so readily apparent, and we will continue to call it out until every American voter realizes that. That's why they've done nothing for their own voting base since Joe Biden got into office, because they never cared to. They never will. It's not what they represent. Yeah, I get excited over this stuff because it's dumbfounding to me how more Democrats don't see it yet. The second biggest challenge is a hostile media landscape that the Democrats have shown. This is the funniest statement. I got to get myself out of the way because I still can't believe I read this. The second biggest, as a matter of fact, I'm going to even jump in here and highlight it. The second biggest challenge is a hostile media landscape that the Democrats have shown they haven't figured out how to handle. They control 97%. 97% of every broadcaster is a Democrat. This is how bad it is for Joe Biden. It is so bad that they have to lie and say they don't control the mainstream media when they control 97% of it. Their failures are so bad, so monstrous, so gargantuan that they actually go on what is an out and out lie. That statement is absolutely factually untrue. But they want their voters to believe that the Republicans still control the mainstream media. Give me a freaking break. You can't make this stuff up. You want some backup rather than just talking points? Study finds that just 3.4% of American journalists are Republicans. It's pretty easy. Published 1 week ago in case you thought it was old news. No, it's brand new news, and it's continued to erode because they control the colleges. Now they control the media because everything just keeps trickling through. So we come to the third challenge. It's the way the Democrats are losing their connection to Latino and Black voters, especially men. I've failed to see how any of this is Donald Trump's fault. Oh, that's right, because again, you have failed your voting base. You see, Democrats, this is actually made for you, because if Donald Trump scares you, your own party should give you nightmares for months and years to come because they failed you. They haven't done anything they've promised. All they've done is attack Donald Trump. They spent all their time. And with the amount of corruption that is still brewing its ugly head out, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. The three reasons why Biden is struggling with Black and Latino voters is pretty easy. He failed to live up to anything he promised. The Democrats failed to live up to anything they promised. We have Joe Biden. An aged presidency, as they state here. Fourth and finally, there's Biden's age, combined with the presumed presence of Kamala Harris on the ticket. And they can only hope that he doesn't have a senior moment during a debate. So in other words, we don't want what has happened to Joe Biden time and time again simply to reveal itself in a non-opportune time. That's their concern. Your concern should be that you have a man who can have a moment like that in the middle of a debate. That should never be a question. But rather than saying, okay, we got to move on, we got to get past this, we're going to point the finger of blame because it comes in how rabid in their argument on what the Democrats need to do. Rather than remove Biden, rather than remove Kamala, now the only thing to do with Harris is to lean into her hard and try to create a new narrative, a new reality about her. Because the reality of her performance, we have to hide that. We got to come up with a new reality because this is something the Democrats have to do more broadly. We have to manipulate truth, manipulate results. This is what the author wrote. You can't make any of this up. So what do the Democrats need to do? This is where it becomes extremely interesting. Republicans are usually on the offensive while Democrats are more often playing defense. Is one of the most factually inaccurate statements I have read in a very long time. The Republicans are horrible at playing offense. They are always playing defense. The Democrats have learned that game a long time ago and demolished the Republican Party over it. The Republicans are usually on the offensive? Come on. But this man wants the Democrats more on the offensive than they already are. Fine. Rightfully so if you're a Democrat. Republicans relentlessly attack the liberal status quo, and the Democrats defend it, usually meekly. I don't think Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer have ever done anything meekly. To say that, again, is dumbfounding to me. Democrats played defense by adopting more centrist positions. Democrats played defense by adopting more centrist positions. Oh, it hurts to even read this. Oh, we don't want big government either, just enough government. Maybe, hold on. Just in case you can't see that on your screen, I'm going to go ahead and throw that into a new box so you can read that. Democrats play defense by adopting more centrist positions. Oh, we don't want big government either, just enough government. Democrats don't want big government. The pain is excruciating. But this is the plan. Republicans should be dumbfounded. Democrats should be terrified because you have no plan. And the plan that you do have, they're claiming doesn't exist. When was the last time you heard a leading Democratic politician give a major speech defending government? The red pulpit. Shall we? I don't particularly care whether Joe Biden calls himself a liberal, but I am saying the Democrats can't be supine in 2024. They need to play offense. Wake each other up each day at the party on the attack. They need to head into the campaign proclaiming themselves to be on the side of middle America. They failed middle America. How could they possibly be on the side of the middle America? You have made middle America hemorrhage its savings, hemorrhage its homes, hemorrhage its pocketbooks. Everything is gone. And now you want to claim you're on the side of middle America? Oh, please try. Because of the most questions they are on gun and abortion rights and on economies built around the middle class and not the rich. You have not built economics around the middle class. You have demolished the middle class. Guns, guns, and guns. That's always a talking point, always will be. Abortion rights is the only thing that Joe Biden is actually what the American people believe in Joe Biden for, is his position on abortion rights. Outside that, everything else falls apart. On confronting excess corporate power. Well, based on what we're finding out about your family, Joe, that doesn't appear to be something you're really that concerned about now, is it? Give war a chance. In search of the Democratic Party's fighting spirit. Really? You think they've lost their fighting spirit, or you're just losing? So as we rush towards the end of this now, things get really unique. And here's another thing they need to do. Name their enemies. Uh-oh. Wait now. What are you trying to say there? Not just their political ones, but their corporate ones as well. Explicitly naming enemies hits people emotionally. Name your enemies. What are you calling for there? Maybe you're just trying to highlight who they are. So let's keep going in the argument here. Recently, Biden has been talking about price gouging. Yes, government tax price gouging. I'd agree. Yes, that's exactly what's happened. Your and my tax dollars are funding everything, but Joe Biden's going to talk about price gouging? Seriously? Biden's even called out Big Pharma. Called out Big Pharma in a whisper. Name names. Name bad guys. Go after them and shame them. Boy, Maxine Waters has re-raised her head again, hasn't she? Now we're getting into the real juice of this argument, aren't we? Name names, name bad guys, go after them, and shame them. This is the only way to get people to really pay attention. Whoa! If you're a Republican saying that, bye-bye. Why Biden, despite all the policies... I can't. I'll try that again. Hold on. Why Biden, despite all the... policy successes. The author actually stated that. Why Biden, despite all the policy successes, isn't connecting with the working class. Please give us a list. No references there. No articles there. You know why? Because they don't exist. Oh, you just skip by your references at that point in time. Voters will far more readily know he's on their side, and he's regularly flaying the people who are picking their pockets. How do you do that if you're in the government that's picking our pockets? You can't. Finally, I'm going to go take a nap after this one, getting all worked up. Democrats have to exude confidence and a sense of victory. In addition to calling him dangerous, call Trump weak. Call Trump old. Call him out of it. Lazy, senile, dumb, a loser, a bankruptcy buffoon, a clown, a grifter. Mock him. Mock them all. Mock Mike Johnson. There's a tongue twister for you. Mock Jim Jordan. We've been accused of this for years. None of us state these words, this venom. In addition to calling him dangerous, just replace this for a second with Biden. Call Biden weak, old, out of it, lazy, senile, dumb, a loser. But now put in Trump as he did here. Call Trump weak, old, out of it, lazy, senile, dumb, a loser. A bankruptcy buffoon, a clown, a grifter. Mock him. Mock them all. Mock Mike Johnson. Mock Jim Jordan. Today's Republican Party is frightened, but it's also an absurdist parody. Don't ignore that second part. Play offense. Name enemies. Emanate victory. There will be no victory that comes from words like this. There is no victory that comes from dividing a nation. It only creates despair. Or as the author states here, so glad I got to share this with you and you got to see this firsthand. Because honestly, there is not a political party that shouldn't be terrified by an article like this. I fear nothing, Justice. Well, we get it. I get it. But how else do you express what America should feel here? It practically goes without saying that Democrats will do none of the things I suggest. They won't despair, or they won't fight. Refreshing our new guard, Democrats like Katie Porter and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Seriously, he said that out loud. They love a bit of politic knuckle dusting, and they train for the fights they pick. Because they're either just afraid, and I'll highlight this in the bottom for you here, playing offense and exuding victory just aren't in their collective DNA. However, because they're either just afraid to be that confrontational or because a good number of those malfeasants are their donors, which is a problem they better think about. What did he just say there? He, in my opinion, diffused his entire party. He insulted his party. He mocked his party. He did exactly what he's telling his party to do in this article. This article, which should send chills up everyone's spine. Especially one statement here. At the very end. Let me just zoom in on this for you. And it's right here, down in the bottom. The economy. I'll try to get this. There you go, right there. The economic news could be a lot more positive this year than people have been thinking. The economic news could be a lot more positive this year than people have been thinking. I've never seen anyone so detached from reality. But the party is detached from reality. The party believes that the White House has done good for the American people. When article after article I publish, you see something entirely different. Or as the author states, fascism is obviously an extreme choice for voters. A choice they make under only two conditions. One, when their country is in genuine deep crisis. Or two, when they feel that the anti-fascists are divided, weak, and not presenting a bold and coherent program that counters the chaos narrative. It's call to action is what that is. The great question of 2024 is whether the Democrats understand all of this. If they are unified, bold, and aggressive, they will establish the reigning narrative and they will win. If they are not, they will lose. In which case, we might say, oh well, gear up for the next election, except there might not be one. Just let that sink in for a moment. Let this entire article sink in. I'm going to put a link below. Go to restrictedrepublic.com for all the links. Go to Justice A Night for all the links. Go to multiple sources. And read this from start to finish. It's a long article. I can't express to you that enough, but it deserves every word being read. Because it is a battle plan that some would have thought at first this would terrify Republicans. Should put them on guard. But they never expected that this was actually written and produced. And everything I've said is for the Democrats. Because, my friends, this isn't the party you want. This isn't the way it's supposed to go. This isn't what should be said. If you can't expand on your successes, you have the wrong people. There is no success. That's the problem. And so rather they turn their focus on demolishing the opposition. And that is why I agree with the author in one sentence that he wrote. So we are in for 11 months of hell. And we are. But we'll be here to cover every turn, and we will not allow distractions like this. And in my opinion, what I would call misinformation like this, to simply just be published and not respond. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. Signing out.